Hello and welcome back to Stopgap Dance Company's replay channel. This session we're going to look at an exercise that uses the idea of melting and floating. This may be a little similar to a plie exercise that you would find in a ballet class. I'm going to talk a little bit more at the end of the video about why I came up with this exercise and why I think it's particularly useful for both standing dancers and dancers in wheelchairs. But before we get on with the exercise, I'd like us to think about this idea of melting and floating a little bit more. So you might like to put on a bit of music and have an improvisation, thinking about different body parts melting down through the space and then floating up, and explore that idea. Once you've done that, then you're ready to come back and start the exercise. We're going to do an exercise thinking about melting and floating. So Hannah is going to use a wide parallel and then a wide turned out bass. So quite standard. But because we dance in lots of different ways and move through lots of different shapes, Christian is going to explore some different basses. So he's going to start with its asymmetrical bit of turn in there. And then for his second bass, he's going to use more points of contact with the floor. For me, I'm going to use my weight evenly down both sides, both wheels to start with, and then for my second bass, I'm going to have one forwards and one back. Now the important thing to remember, wherever you are with your bass, that when you bend your knees, that your knees go straight over your toes, so keeping them in alignment. So we start the exercise, we've got a bit of time to plant and find our bass. We've got 4 counts, so we plant it down. 1, 2, 3, 4, to a nice secure bass. From here, we've got 4 counts to melt down, thinking nice and soft. From here, we're then going to play with our centre and trying to shift our weight from one side to the other. So we shift it over one way, 1, 2, we shift it back, 3, 4, and then we've got 4 counts to play with this idea of shifting our weight. 5, 6, 7, 8. So you might like to do what Hannah did, rather than just going side to side. She also play with that sensation of going forwards and round. So let's start from the top and recap what we've done so far. We're going to plant our bass down. 1, 2, 3, 4, melting 5, 6, 7, 8, shifting our bass. 1, 2, 3, 4, playing 5, 6, 7, 8. From here, you've got a whole 8 counts to find a float. So you can really take your time, fill out the music, and as you get to the end, think about maybe changing your focus or sending your heart up to the ceiling to really extend that float. So we're in our melt and we float. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. We've got a quick drop and melt. Drop down, 1, 2. From here, we choose a specific body part that is going to pull us round into a spiral. So I'm going to go with my head, Hannah elbow, and Christian is going to go for foot. And it doesn't matter which way round you turn, but thinking about initiating from that body part, we go round, round, coming back to the front. You can either return to the bass that you've been working with or just find a neutral one. From here, we then have 3 transferring our weight out and back into the centre. So in any direction that you like, we transfer out. 1, 2, 3, 4, in, 5, 6, 7, 8. Plenty of time to be nice and juicy. Out. 1, 2, 3, 4, in. 5, 6, 7, 8. The last one, we go out. 1, 2, 3, 4. Coming back into a balance. Find a balance. Try and make it nice and soft. Thinking of that sensation of floating, then finding a reach or a stretch to extend, and then releasing and melting. So the whole thing all together goes, finding your base. 1, 2, 3, 4, melt 5, 6, 7, 8, sway 1, 2, 3, 4, play 5, 6, 7, 8, 8 to float, 2, 3, 4, extend it, open, 7, 8, drop 1, 2, spiral, pulling with the body part, 6, 7, 8, slow transfers out, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You can ripple through your body in 5, 6, 7, 8. Last one comes into a balance. Nice and easy float. Extend and drop. So we're now going to try the exercise with music. We'll do it twice through, once with the first bass that we've been practicing with, and then the second time with our new bass, finding something different. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Again with our new bass. Ready. 5, 6, 7, 8. I hope you enjoyed that exercise and found it useful. As I said at the start, I wanted to talk a little bit more about my reasonings behind doing this exercise. You might have noticed that it was a bit similar to a ballet exercise, a plie exercise. A plie, basically translated into English, means bend. So the exercise is where the dancer would stand either in a first position or second or various other of the set positions and bend through the knees. This is to warm up their legs and also as a preparation for jumping. As a wheelchair dancer, there are various different ways that we might translate this exercise. Sometimes we look at just bending in the arms, so maybe it's having our arms stretched and then bending and stretching or floating in the arms. But I wanted to look at a way to use weight bearing in this exercise. So pushing through the wheels or different parts of the wheelchair to bend and stretch and to build some muscle. This got me to thinking how when a standing dancer does it, they have various different positions, but they're not necessarily useful to myself as a wheelchair dancer. And I was interested in the different places on the wheelchair that I could push and push into to create some tension and resistance. I then thought that this was quite interesting as well, actually, to translate back onto the standing dancers, as we don't always move through the same parallel or turned out position that we dance in. Often there's lots of different positions. So I wanted to also get the standing dancers to explore those different base positions and move through those, including, as you saw Christian doing, some with different points of contact in the floor. He had his hands into the floor. This, I think, gave a really interesting challenge to the standing dancers, as well as being something very useful for the wheelchair dancers. So I hope you enjoyed my translation, and maybe you might explore some of these ideas in some other exercises.